Today we are cracking open Japan's oldest surviving book, the Kojiki. Now, on the surface, it's this incredible story of gods and goddesses and the birth of a nation. But what if this divine drama isn't just a myth? What if it's actually a coded history telling the real story of how Japan began?
So when you hear the word myth, tales of gods, epic battles, magical creatures, what do you think of? For a lot of us, it's just that, fantasy. They're entertaining stories for sure, but they don't have much to do with the real world.
But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if these stories are actually a kind of historical record, the collective memory of a people, passed down not as a list of dry facts, but as an unforgettable saga?
Okay, but if this story is so fundamental to Japan, why is it that so few people, even in Japan itself, have actually heard it?
Well, the answer is in surprisingly recent history. You see, after World War II, Japan's whole education system went through this massive shift, and the teaching of these national myths, which had been used to fuel nationalism, was deliberately taken out of the curriculum. So for generations, this foundational story was kind of just left on the shelf, waiting to be rediscovered.
At the very heart of the Kojiki are two completely different families of gods, and they represent two clashing worlds. So let's meet the players.
And this is where the code really starts to become clear. These two divine families, they map almost perfectly onto Japan's actual ancient history. First, you've got the Amatsukami, the heavenly gods, led by the sun goddess Amaterasu. The myth says they came from the heavens. Historians connect them to the Yayoi people, who migrated from the Asian continent, bringing all this new technology, like rice farming. And then already living on the islands were the Kunitsukami, the earthly gods, who represent Japan's indigenous Jomon culture.
And the mythological map itself backs this up. The heavenly plain, Takamagahara, is seen as the continent. The central land of reed plains, well, that's Japan. The entire epic is about bringing these two places and these two groups of people together under one single rule.
So how did the newcomers take control? You'd probably expect a story about a long, bloody war, right? But the Kojiki gives us something way more unique and honestly, way more Japanese. It's an event called the Kuni-Yuzuri, which means the transfer of the land.
The whole thing plays out like a high-stakes negotiation. Messengers are sent from the heavens to Izumo, which is the stronghold of the earthly gods, but they don't declare war, they make a demand. And the leader of the earthly gods, Okinunishi, instead of fighting to the death, he agrees, but he has one condition. He says, in exchange for giving up power, they have to build a magnificent shrine for him, which is today the Izumo Grand Shrine, so he would be worshipped as a powerful god forever.
This moment right here reveals a core theme. I mean, think about it. In so many other cultures, when a new power takes over, they destroy the old gods. Like Charlemagne cutting down the sacred trees of the Saxons. But in this story, the old ruler wasn't erased. He was made into a god himself. He was brought into the new system. This act of fusion, of absorbing the old into the new, becomes a defining pattern.
And as part of this new order, to seal the deal, the sun goddess Amaterasu gives her grandson, who's sent to rule the earth, 3 sacred items to legitimize his reign. These are the imperial regalia of Japan, passed down through generations of emperors to this very day. A sword, a jewel, and a mirror.
Let's zero in on that mirror, the Yata no Kagami. The name itself is a clue. Yata means eighths man, a measurement based on the width of your hand. This describes a bronze mirror that was absolutely enormous for its time, about 18 inches across. This was not something you'd use to check your hair. It was a powerful symbol, a ritual object of immense importance. And this is where it gets wild. This is where myth and history just crash into each other. In the 1960s, archaeologists digging at a site from that exact same time period unearthed something incredible, a massive bronze mirror. Its size, its intricate design, it was a perfect match for the mythical Yata no Kagami. All of a sudden, this divine object from a story had a real, physical counterpart you could hold in your hands. But getting a foothold in Kyushu was really just the beginning. The next chapter of the myth describes this long, difficult journey to unify the rest of the country, a great migration to the east. This is the story of Emperor Jimmu, the legendary first emperor of Japan. He sets out from Kyushu, sailing east, but his first try at landing near modern-day Osaka is a complete disaster. He's defeated by this fierce local leader named Nagasuna Hiko. So he's forced to retreat, loop all the way around the Kii Peninsula and attack from the other side, finally succeeding in the Yamato region, which would become the new heartland of Japan. But when Jimmu finally makes it to Yamato, there's a twist. The local ruler there, Nagasune Hiko, claims he already serves a heavenly god named Nigi Hayahai, one who came down from the heavens before Jimmu's family. This is such a crucial clue, suggesting that the migration from the continent wasn't just one single event, but probably happened in multiple waves.
So how does this standoff get resolved? Again, it's not with total war. The earlier god, Nigahayahaya, he recognizes Jimmu's divine authority and orders his own followers to submit, and the two lines of heavenly gods just merge into one. There's that theme again. You unite by incorporating your rivals, not by destroying them.
Okay, so let's pull all of these threads together and really decode what this story is telling us.
What the Kojiki really is not one single ancient story. It's a brilliant piece of political and cultural engineering. In the 7th century, the Yamato court gathered up the myths and traditions of all the different clans they had brought together, the stories from Izumo, from Kyushu, from Yamato, and they skillfully wove them into this one single grand narrative. And this new story placed their own family at the very top while still honoring the gods of the people they'd conquered.
Which brings us right back to our original question. A myth isn't just a fairy tale. It is something so much more profound. It's the collective memory of a people, all of their migrations, their conflicts, their compromises, all of it processed and encoded into a story so powerful it could be passed down for thousands of years.
The Kojiki really shows us that the stories we think are just fantasy might be hiding the truth right there in plain sight. So, the next time you hear a founding myth or a folktale from your own culture, just ask yourself, what real history, what forgotten memory is coded inside?